This is the plaintiff, Jason Leon. He says he gave the defendant a deposit for a room he was renting, but the guy never gave him the keys and then just dropped off the face of the earth. He's not going to get away with ripping him off to the tune of the $700 he gave him, and that's why he's suing the con man in this court today. This is the defendant, Ben Timothy. He says the plaintiff called him and told him he couldn't move into the room for a few days because he was having some baby mama drama. Then he was the one who dropped out of sight, and he didn't hear anything from him for 2 months. The plaintiff rents a room from him, then disappears for 2 months, and now wants his deposit back? Ha, ha, ha! He's accused of disappearing on deposit. The defendant has filed a countersuit for $2,100 for 3 months of rent.
All parties, please raise your right hand.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket. The plaintiff says he gave the defendant $700 for an apartment and never even got the keys. But the defendant says it's the opposite. The plaintiff just disappeared. It's the case of, so who's the Houdini?
Thank you, Douglas. Jason Leon, you are suing Ben Timothy for $700, the amount of a deposit that you put on an apartment that you were not able to move into. You say it's his fault. You say he disappeared. You say he disappeared. You say he disappeared. Okay, you have a counterclaim against him for $2,100 for 3 months of rent because according to you, I guess you couldn't rent it out for those 3 months? All right, let's start with you, Mr. Leon. What happened?
Okay, I was looking for a room back in the month of October. I happened to come across his room on Craigslist, and I called them up immediately. I went to go see the room, and I liked the room. I told him that I wanted it, and I told him when he was ready to pick up a security deposit, he'd come pick it up. So he came to my job, picked it up, and he told me he wasn't sure if I was going to be able to move in either the 1st or the 15th because he wasn't sure if his room was going to be out on time, but he'll keep me posted and let me know.
Okay.
Now, on November 3rd, I still haven't heard from him, so I gave him a call to try to find out what's going on, like as far as to the room. He had told me that his roommate already had moved out, but he didn't have the key because his old roommate hasn't given him the keys back. But he had told me he was going to make me a set of keys and he was going to come drop it off that same day. He was like, all right, I'll make you a set of keys, your own keys, and I'll drop it off.
All right, so go ahead.
So I had told him I was a little short that day because I thought I was going to be moving in on the 15th. I was a little short, but he could start.
Short what? Money?
On the money.
Because you needed to pony up how much more?
I needed to pony up $100 more.
Had you already paid $700 or no?
I paid the $700 security deposit.
Okay, and then he's supposed to come pick up the $600 and give you a set of keys that he goes through the trouble of making because you're entitled to your own set. And what happened on that day?
He told me fine. He was going to come drop the keys and pick up that money, and I told him I was going to give him the rest of the money one day that I move in, which was going to be the following day. Now, the following day
was going to be what day?
The 4th.
The 4th, okay.
The 4th. Now, the following day, I haven't heard from my phone. My phone had cracked the screen, so I couldn't really see, so I didn't have his number to get in contact and to find out what's going on. So I went back on Craigslist. When I went on Craigslist, the ad was still there. I got his phone number, and I tried calling him from my girlfriend's phone.
And now, you're talking about the day after he doesn't show up to get the $600 and give you a key.
That's correct.
All right. And that day is what day?
This is the 4th. I called him from my girlfriend's phone to let him know that my dad...
Did you bring your girlfriend's phone here?
No, she
How are you going to prove that you called him from your girlfriend's phone? Okay, go on. See, this is what's critical, because you're going to say he disappeared, he's going to say you disappeared. How do you think I'm going to take care of this? I'm going to try to figure out who is the Houdini here disappearing. Okay, that's how it's going to be. So when you say I called him from my girlfriend's phone, give me your girlfriend's phone here so that I can see that you called him from your girlfriend's phone, or bring me your girlfriend's phone records or something, Anyway, go ahead.
So I tried calling him, I left him a voicemail to let him know that my phone was broken, and he never responded. Later on that week, 2 days later, I went to his house. I rang the doorbell.
What day did you go to his house?
This was, I believe, the 6th or 7th. I went to his house, and I rang the doorbell. Now, when I rang the doorbell a couple of times. I heard no answer. When I went to work, I went to my job. I called him from my job phone. He still didn't pick up the phone. Now,
do you have those phone records?
No, I don't have those phone records. I didn't think I was going to need them.
When you say I didn't think I was going to need them, what do you think is going to happen here? You're going to flap your gums, he's going to flap his gums, and I'm going to flip a coin?
I mean, the only thing I brought with me was the text that I got from him.
All right, we'll get to that. Maybe that'll do it. Go ahead, go on.
Now, later on that week, I called him one more time from my girlfriend's phone. He still didn't pick up, so now I had to go back on Craigslist and try to find another room. I happened to find another room around the 12th.
Okay. All right,
now, I moved in. I didn't call him from those 15 days from the 12th until The beginning of
What are you
December.
doing for a phone from the 4th and through the 12th?
I had to send it in.
Okay, so you had no phone from the 4th through the 12th. Do you have your phone records?
I don't have.
You don't even have your own phone records?
Which those
Do you
are
have
the
your
ones I
phone?
saved.
So I can read the text?
Yeah.
You have your phone. Okay, hand me the phone. What's going on here? He says that you just got lost, that no one knew how to reach you. He kept trying from different numbers, and that you were just nowhere to be found. And meanwhile, the guy didn't get his key. You didn't pick up the money. And why should you be able to keep the $700? What say you?
We never actually spoke on the phone. We just texted, and I have all the text messages if you need it.
What do you say happened here?
As good
He was
faith.
supposed to be able to move in November 1st, right?
Yes.
And what happened on November 1st?
I was supposed to go give him the keys, but something happened. I had to go bring my siblings back home. So I texted him, which you will see, and I told him, okay, you come anytime you want, and he never came.
According to you, what does he respond?
He said he was having trouble with his baby mother.
Were you having
and
some
so
trouble in the
he didn't have
first
any
few
money.
days with baby mama?
I didn't have any troubles with it. I just had to lend him some money.
That's what he texted.
Okay.
That's what he texted me. So.
Right. Okay, so go on.
And then I said, okay, well, whenever you're ready, just let me know. I'll be here. Just contact me.
And then what happened?
Never heard from him again. And then
Never heard from him again?
Never heard from him.
So the last time you heard from him was what day, according to you?
I want to say the 3rd. The 3rd, November 3rd.
Other defendants?
This is the cracked screen you were talking about?
No, that just happened recently.
How many times you gonna crack your screen? Why don't you put a darn cover on it and then this won't happen? What are you, my kids?
So who's flakier, landlords or tenants? What do you say?
It depends. It could be either one.
Well, but if you had to guess one, landlords flaky or tenants flaky?
Tenants, I suppose.
Because?
Because they're there temporarily and they don't have any ownership in.
Fair point. Fair point.
I think landlords, they like to collect the rent, but they don't want to deal with, they don't want to be dealt with the business.
Spoken like a true tenant, right?
Yes.
Okay. Going inside the courtroom.
Here's how it goes. November 1st, the plaintiff sends the defendant a text saying, so? The defendant responds, dude moved out. You good to come in. So when would I be getting the keys? When I see you, when we meet. Hey, bro, so sorry, got held up. This is you talking. Yesterday, long story short, had car issues, was supposed to bring my siblings home yesterday to Philly and come back, but couldn't. I was stuck outside all night. I'm around all day. We'll bring them tomorrow. My bad. Everything's fine at this point, November 3rd, because he says, I don't know, tell me what's best. That's when you tell him, I'm short on my rent. My BM was bugging me yesterday. So if you want to wait a couple of days, I got you. End of December, you text him, I don't know what's going on from you, but I've been reaching out to you for a little bit now, no response back. Please call me back ASAP, let me know what's going on. Okay, unfortunately, I'm going to have to take this matter to court. I'm just back in the States. Who is this, you ask? This is Jason. And then you respond, Jason, who was supposed to move in November? Yep. And you're like, I took the room offline for you. The security deposit was to secure the room for you, so I wouldn't rent it out to anybody. That's what a deposit is for. And they're non-refundable, especially after a month. If you were not interested in moving, you shouldn't have given a deposit if you weren't serious. I can't hold the room for someone on promises, hence a security deposit. Well, he doesn't sound like a guy who you couldn't reach. He sounds like a guy who's stunned that you surfaced. So you're gonna have to pony up some proof that you tried to reach him and couldn't. Otherwise, that's his $700, honey. And the text goes on for like 8 pages because he's so irate. Did you think I would hold the room till January and then give the deposit back? That makes no sense. Who's going to pay the other part of the rent while it's vacant? I can't afford that. I had no more guarantee. I rented it out in December. Oh, so why are you suing then for lost rent in December and January if you're saying you rented it out in December in this text? Liar. Nice try. My job isn't to take your money, especially when you know where I live. That's dumb. But the deposit is non-refundable. Last I heard from you, you said your baby's mother was tripping about money, so you wouldn't be able to give first month's rent until later that week to move in, and I never heard from you again. I'm satisfied. All right. Now, in this countersuit, first of all, let's talk about your suit against him. The only way you would be entitled to get that back is if he stopped you from moving in. And I do not get that flavor, because you do not have one scintilla of proof other than your flapping gums that you tried to reach him and couldn't. So based on the evidence you have presented, you are not entitled to that $700 back. You have a counterclaim against him for $2,100 because according to you, it was vacant November, December, and January. Number one, it's a month-to-month lease. You're not entitled to December and January, not the least, and for many reasons, not the least of which is that in your text, you say you rented it out in December. So on your counterclaim against him, 0. On his claim against you, 0. Good luck, gentlemen.
0-0. It's a tie. What's your reaction to the outcome?
I mean, I think it's still not fair, but I mean, I guess I didn't have enough proof. I mean, I thought one day it was more important, I guess, on from my girlfriend's phone.
It really looked like, from the testimony, it looks like, well, from his response to the text, that you were the one who dropped off the face of the earth there for a while.
No, I called him several times.
All right, right around the corner this way, okay? All right, so step on in here, and you got nothing either.
That's okay. I'm satisfied.
Why?
Because he didn't deserve to get his money back after disappearing for 3 months, so.
You understand it was month to month,
Yes.
right? Anyway, so you can't sue for more than one anyhow.
Yes.
Harvey?
Absolutely.
Okay, if you are renting an apartment or you own something where you're leasing something out, I am telling you, you need to document all of your transactions between the two in writing, in emails or texts. Have a paper record, something to prove what's what.